Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna tell you a little story here tonight about this guitar. I don't get it out too often, but me and this guitar, we've been together for 50 years. When I was a young man just starting out, I was always going to get myself a Martin guitar someday. And when I was living in California, I was finally able to pull that off, and I had a 1966 D18. And got brand new from a place out in San Diego out there. And I had that for a little while. Off to Vietnam I went. And after the second major campaign that we'd been in over there, we got some R&R, and I went to Subic Bay in the Philippines there, and we got drunk on our butt, and decided to go over to the telephone exchange and call people back home. Had to wait in line for a long time, and had another beer, and when my number was called, I went up there and decided I'd call my wife, and I went through 2 or 3 international operators, and finally she answered, and I'm still crocked, and we hadn't seen each other for such a long time. We just yacked it up on the phone for over 45 minutes, long distance from overseas, and they didn't have these phone cards or anything back then, and that was great, and I recovered from my hangover, and on we went, and anyway, my wife was still here in Lincoln at the time, staying with her folks until she moved out to California to be with me when I got back. And so she was talking to me on her folks' telephone. And when they got the bill, my father-in-law went through the roof. And so the outcome of that story is, there went the Martin guitar. There went my wife's car. And so anyway, I was a few years without a guitar, and I just played people's guitars that I knew that would let me do it. And I finally couldn't stand it anymore, so I went down 50 years ago and bought this guitar just to tide me over for something. And so we've stayed together for a long time. Her name is Rose, and that's why she's got this stuff on the front. So anyway, that's the story of this here guitar. And I paid $169.50 for this guitar, brand new, 50 years ago. I don't know what it's worth now, but it's worth $1 million to me. So anyhow, I'm going to do a couple songs about Appalachia tonight, if I can pull them off. And, you know, they've mined the coal down there in the Appalachian Mountains now for years, and they've strip mined the coal, and they've dug for the coal, and it's not low sulfur coal like you get from out in Wyoming, and so it's not really that good for the environment anymore. And, the Cherokee Indians believe that the Appalachian Mountains were formed when Big Eagle flew over, when the mountains were still just mud. And every time that he raised his wings, the mountains came up, and every time his wings went down, they created a valley. Well, they've mined that coal now, and they're doing something that just annoys me to no end. They'll go in and dynamite the whole top of a mountain off, and then they come in and dig the coal out. They call it mountaintop removal, and they also call it coal mining without getting your hands dirty. And, it's just a wrong thing to do, so I'm going to do a little song about that tonight. song and the birds sang along, and the wind answered back when you call. Won't be no trees left at all, no birds a flying. Rivers in your stream, our memories and dreams will run through our veins. Cradle us deep where our loved ones now sleep. The valleys welcome us home. How can Now, I know most of you, including me, don't remember the Great Depression, but there's a guy sitting at the table with me over here every Thursday night, and I'm pretty sure he does. And things were just a little bit different back then. And he tells some of the best stories that you're ever going to hear. So if he's ever out playing somewhere, be sure you catch him. And I love story songs myself. So this is a song about the 1930s, if I can remember it. A cup of coffee back then, if you came down to a place like this, might cost you a nickel, and there weren't any free refills, and a penny was worth a lot of money back then. So I'm going to tell you a little story here with this song, and I hope you like it. Try and picture this in your mind. The scene was a small roadside cafe. The waitress was sweeping the floor. Two truck drivers drinking their coffee. Two oaky kids by the door. How much are those candies, they asked her. How much have you got, she replied. We've only a penny between us. Them's two for a penny, she lied. Daylight grew heavy with thunder. Smell of the rain on the wind. Ain't it just like a human? Here comes that rainbow again. the truck driver called to the waitress when the kids had gone outside. Them candies ain't two for a penny. So what's it to you, she replied. The truck drivers finished their coffee, got up and nodded goodbye. She called, hey, you left too much money. So what's it to you, they replied. The daylight grew heavy with thunder, smell of the rain on the wind. Ain't it just like a human? Here comes that rainbow again. Thank you very much. And by the way, I ran into a friend of mine today, and he was telling me about this other guy we hang out with. He said, have you ever seen him eat a pie? I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, he just cuts it up in fourths. I said, why does he do that? He said, because he doesn't know if he can eat 8 pieces at once. So drive fast, take chances. We'll see you next week. Thank you very much.